Hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, and before we continue, I gotta take you all back on a nice little time machine tour. So you all ever heard of a game called Crysis? This game was so strong that gaming computers back in the day couldn't run this, even like the highest end stuff. To put into perspective, think about it like this. Let's say you bought the highest end cards you could at the time, and the highest end processors, you found some decently fucking clocked RAM. You got all the good components, no bottlenecks. This game was still a behemoth to be maxing out. Now the thing about Crysis was that it is a pretty looking game. There's nobody that can tell you Crysis isn't a beautiful title. But what Crysis showcased was something that we couldn't handle at the time. And this started a new line of businesses, I guess you could say. One of the most prominent ones was OnLive, the business where anybody who didn't have a gaming computer could have a gaming computer, all through the power of the internet. So let me just give you a little history. OnLive was a service that I actually tried out a little bit back in the day. What this service allowed you to do was run Crysis on it through cloud servers. So basically, they would have really beefy systems, like we're talking server-grade GPUs, server-grade CPUs. They would partition them out and basically make mini gaming PCs. You would there buy time on this service, so like, hours spent, and I believe even the games, and then you would just play the games like you would on a PC. You would be sending the input from your home computer and you would be watching a video on their end. So that was what we called cloud PC gaming. Unfortunately, this came out so early that there wasn't even a point in using it, right? So it was just too expensive to run. There was no proper price for the consumers, and then there was no proper price for this. So really, it was an idea for like now that came like 10 years earlier, like years upon years earlier. OnLive failed because it was just too early. And I actually enjoyed the service. I played a bit of it. I played, I believe, Saints Row on it for a little while just to test it out, and it ran okay. There were points where they had ideas of selling a console that did nothing but streaming. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up today is because game streaming is kind of all the thing now. It's like the next big thing. There are two services that I actually used quite recently that made me want to make this video real quick. One of them was NVIDIA GeForce Experience. So, full disclaimer, I actually own an NVIDIA Shield. I bought it. It's a great 4K machine. And the reason I like it so much is because it lets me stream my games. But beyond that, it also provides good media services around the home. Again, this isn't a review, just telling you. By buying this product, I was entitled to having NVIDIA GeForce Experience, which is, or GeForce Now, which is basically their version of game streaming. So you stream it off of NVIDIA server, and you put in your Steam account, your Epic Games account or whatever, so you can log into the games and show a license. So I got to play some Resident Evil 2 and some other games that I had in my library, and it actually ran by pretty well. Now, running a game like Rainbow Six Siege is fucking impossible. You're not going to be able to get those accurate like shots or anything down just because there is always latency to this. But playing a game like Resident Evil 2 and going on to Project Stream, which was the other thing by Google, where you could play Assassin's Creed Odyssey at 1080p 30, it actually felt like I could play the games a little bit. Yes, they weren't as stunning visually, and they didn't run as smooth as they did natively on my computer, but looking at it from somebody that literally ran a game from their web browsers or a tiny little app on their smart TV device, it's actually fairly impressive. And now with the new information that like the next Xboxes have like a streaming platform, and I also believe Sony will capitalize on streaming as well too. They already do it with PlayStation Now. This might actually be a viable system for the future, a completely all streaming, if anything, all digital device. And the weird thing about it is, I don't want to ever see it become the norm. I see a lot of people pitching it like it's the total future and gaming is already turning into this Netflix-like thing with Xbox Game Pass. That's great and all. But one of the things that I gotta always say is something like this can absolutely never be allowed to be the whole soul simple thing that people think it. It's not the next coming. One of the weirdest things that I haven't seen really mentioned a lot by some people, except from, those who are really concerned, is the idea that games are already $60. Now we're moving into games that are online only $60. So you're just only buying a license key. For example, there's no reason why a game like Beyond Good and Evil 2 needs an internet connection, or Metal Gear Survive needs one. They don't do anything server-side, really, aside from a license check, or running an online component of a game. These games do not require it, so we're already paying $60 for a game license key, for a game that's not going to run forever. Fuck, I love Rainbow Six Siege, but this game's not going to last forever. Once the servers are down, it's down. Now we're moving on to an era where $60 for streaming the game might be a thing, where you don't even own the game anymore. They control how much you access, whatever you want to do. You get banned, you can't access the game at all. You can't stream it. And you also can't modify the game or preserve it for later. One of the biggest things I love about console gaming over PC and anything is that I can buy physical discs, disconnect the system forever, and just play the game from start to finish on the 1.0 version of those games. That's a thing, and I quite enjoy that. But with streaming, we're losing the ability to even have the files on the disc. I'm not against the idea myself. I think game streaming is great. For a lot of people who are really casual into it, they just want to play a game right there. They don't want to bother downloading it. It's fine if you live in that area of the world that doesn't have to worry about internet caps or anything. But for it to become the whole sole replacement for like video games is something that we absolutely can't allow. If that ever happens to console gaming at the very least, then I'm probably going to switch full dick into PC. I'm never even going to touch a console at that point. And if it ever happens with PC gaming, which it obviously won't, you know, we have PCs that can run any game 2 generations beyond what we have now, then maybe I'll quit gaming altogether if clouds take over, because at the end of the day, gaming is not something that needs to be constantly cut back. You know, we definitely need the physical media alive and well, but we also need the ability to play these games locally alive and well. So just my little thoughts on the whole cloud gaming stuff. I wanted to talk about it because it is that next generation thing. And when the systems come out with more cloud gaming tech in it, like Microsoft's xCloud and this NVIDIA GeForce Now taking off more than it is, then it's going to become one of those things we need to talk about a little bit more. It started off being a cutesy idea to play a game that was pretty much impossible to run into something that needs to be carefully watched before it ends up becoming the most obtrusive form of DRM possible. But ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Just like if you dislike it, I am out.